Welcome to Good Enough, the video series where I, your boy Genesi, will teach you how to get good enough at a given thing. Today we're looking at Dead by Daylight Survivor Edition. As per usual, I will divide the instructions in descending order of importance. That means the most essential and universal things about getting good enough will come at the start, and the more situational aspects will follow later on. On that note, I will probably divide this video into separate parts. First of all, we concern ourselves with the most important aspects, so let's get right into it. What could be the most important thing when playing a video game? Well, for me, the most important thing is having fun, so keep that in mind. And chances are you are like me and play video games in your spare time. So, I want you always to make the decision based on what would make the game more enjoyable to you. So if you want to abuse OP perks or items or just want to fuck around, then just do it. And don't be a dick, but besides that, try to have fun, alright? Now that we have fun, let's go one deeper. Well, sometimes learning just isn't fun, so having fun can sometimes be suspended for one thing and one thing only: create opportunity to grow. Sometimes, if you really want to improve, it's just necessary to consciously make mistakes or force yourself into difficult, unpleasant situations. So with that out of the way, how do we actually get better at Dead by Daylight? Well, first of all, you have to distinguish between experience and active learning. I cannot give you experience. You can gain experience by watching better people play or by playing yourself. But there's something else I can equip you with. It's the capability to learn, and I will demonstrate in the following example. See how I got clapped there? Well, let's use the theory and try to find out why. Well, first of all, sneaking instead of running away. Well, that's very likely. Second, lack of awareness. Well, that was unlikely. I was looking at him, right? I was seeing him, and I was hearing the heartbeat. And third of all, right close made the killer see me. Somewhat likely, but was it the reason I got clapped? It is very likely that sneaking was the cause of our failure, of our death. So what do we do with this information? Well, we need to use our time efficiently. Did we do that? Not really. The most efficient thing we could have done is to keep the killer distracted for as long as possible. Sneaking doesn't achieve that. So if sneaking seems to have been the mistake, next time we should run. If you're a new player, you just gained about 200 hours worth of experience just by that one moment. Obviously, you need to think like that continuously, so it's more akin to narrowing it down rather than this single revelation, but I hope you get the idea. Well, now let's try running. Alright, so let's compare it to the previous situation and estimate if our application was adequate. We consider time efficiency. Did we use our time efficiently? Well, we wasted more of the killer's time, and we stayed alive for longer. So our changes have led to an improvement. Well, the next step would be to elaborate on that and analyze it further. But I think you as beginners would benefit more from me giving you principles to adhere to than these situational improvements. So let's narrow it down to DbD specifics. The most important principle in DbD is time efficiency. Ask yourself as a survivor, or even as a killer, am I using my time efficiently? Well, what is efficient? Well, it's simple actually. Just try this. Help team, do gens, or auxiliary tasks. You should always help your team. Helping your team is buying time for them or allowing them to use their time. You can do that by being chased, unhooking them, picking them up, and so on. By helping, you basically allow them to use more of their time. Doing gens is next on the list. When you're not being chased, you should always be doing generators, or looking for generators to do. Again, you are using your time as efficiently as possible, and the most efficient thing you can do is do gens. The most efficient thing you can do is do generators. Do generators. Lastly, auxiliary tasks. Cleaning totems, flashlight saves, using situational perks, sabotaging are the lowest priority by far. The benefits of these is usually very small and are not guaranteed to be worth your time. So again, do generators. Now, a few words of warning. Sometimes helping your team is not the smartest thing you can do. So your default should be to sit on a generator, and you should only deviate from that when you can do a task that is close to you. In other words, do not run across the map to save or pick up people. Lastly, in educational psychology, we speak of being as precise as possible. So instead of telling you what not to do, I will give you some final hints on what to do. When analyzing your gameplay, sometimes it is evident that you couldn't have done anything about that. Always try to find something that you personally can do better. Oh, and be honest to yourself. I can run a new player for hours, but that doesn't mean I don't make mistakes during the chase. As a killer, I will probably destroy beginner survivors, but that doesn't mean my gameplay is devoid of mistakes. It's just good enough in both cases and you still can learn from it. If you can't find anything, then assume you don't know enough yet or that truly nothing can be done. More on that later. Never attribute a loss to a teammate or the killer. You will be frustrated. Especially the lower level killers behave very inefficiently and might camp you. You will lose a pip most likely. But the reason for that is neither your team refusing to kill themselves as well to save you, or the killer. You got caught. Learn from that. As for the being camped to death, well, there's nothing you can do about that. It's just the nature of the game, so don't mind it. Imagine a scale that depicts how much influence your individual skill has on the outcome of a game. The upper end is the most balanced game in existence. Chess or mirror matchups, for example. The better player will almost always win. Consider chess grandmaster Hikaru Nakamura, who was smurfing with a meme opening the Bon Cloud, and he got to 3k elo with a score of 324 wins, 2 draws and 17 losses. Even with a handicap, it is evident that his superior skill is the reason he wins. Thus, we can conclude that chess is fairly balanced and your skill is very likely to be the deciding factor. Now, on the other end, we have rolling dice. I don't think I need to elaborate on that. And don't be a smartass, saying one could theoretically calculate angle, friction, air resistance, impetus, humidity or whatever. One could, but chances are neither you or I can. DbD as a survivor is roughly located here. If you're better than your opponent, you are more likely to win than to lose. Besides, there is some randomness. In matchup, killer, items, map version, how many pellets and loop tiles spawn, where they spawn. Well, my point is, don't be discouraged by bad luck. DbD is not a competitive title. DbD being played on a competitive level is a joke in my opinion, but don't concern yourself with that just yet. Eventually you will understand why I and many others think that way, and once you're at this point, you'll be capable of assessing that for yourself. Oh, and one more thing to keep in mind. Ranks. They do not matter. Your performance in general does not matter. No one will like you more or less because your rank is too low. At least, no one worth having around. With that out of the way, the rank system in DbD is mostly useless. You will rank up just by playing. It is not an indication of skill. Especially at the high skill end, this is evident. Once you get to red ranks, you might be lucky and get an easy win by playing me. Or you might end up having to face this absolute Chad who has 5,000 hours in the game and is gonna clap your cheeks. Again, if you focus only on that number or that pip, you'll get frustrated for no reason. If you want to get better, however, playing against highly proficient people like him is a really good idea. Especially when you get the chance to ask them what you could have done better. Do that. Oh, and one more thing. When you're solo as a survivor, you are the weakest possible entity in a given game. But let me try to explain. By design, the killer is superior to a single survivor. He's faster and he can clap cheeks. Your only option is to prevent those gorgeous ass lives of yours from getting spanked. The balancing factor is that there's 4 pairs of cheeks that will have to be clapped. Now, if you bring a friend, just the 2 of you are roughly equal to the killer. Now, and bear with me here, what if you were to bring 1 more friend or even 2? Well, now you go into a match with a significant advantage. So keep in mind, when playing solo queue games, you are the weakest entity. Expect to lose more if you play solo, alright? It happens, it's not a big deal. Alright, that's it for the mindset part. Depending on the direction I get, I might do the other parts as well. I'm also thinking about making videos where I apply this stuff in like actual games. If you want to see that stuff, let me know. As this is the first video, I would appreciate any form of feedback and resonance. Oh, and don't forget to have fun, and I'll see you online.